Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I would appreciate it majorly. So I'm just following up on, I just made this video earlier about CPAC and the individual who tested positive while he was there. The man who's from Englewood, New Jersey, which is North Jersey, right outside New York City. He was there for the full 4 days. Well, he was in Maryland from I think the 27th to the 1st. It goes from the 26th to the 29th. So Matt Schlapp, who basically is the head of the ACU, the American Conservative Union, that hosts that conference, the Conservative Political Action Conference. You know, he said he was there the full 4 days, and that he was in one spot or one locality within the conference, from pretty much all 4 days, and didn't move around. He wasn't somebody that was, I don't know. He's described as an attendee, but it almost sounds to me like somebody who is volunteering for the conference. But I don't know that. My guess is that he's some kind of Republican official, because I don't know. I just get that sense, and that Matt Schlapp probably knows him personally on a first name basis. The breaking news now is that Ted Cruz is self quarantining himself because it was made aware to him that he shook his hand and had a brief conversation with the individual. So he is. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, but he is self quarantining himself. I don't know how long that will last. He has something over on one of his Twitter feeds, his senators, Ted Cruz's Twitter feed, announcing this, and he's doing it out of an abundance of caution. He says that physicians tell him it's not necessary for him to quarantine or be tested. I think I don't even know if he is being tested. He's just self quarantining until to see if symptoms materialize. I'll read through the statement he released, but I mean, it's not like Ted Cruz is the only guy who shook hands with this dude. He tested positive for the virus, and I don't know how long after he left did he start to display symptoms. It couldn't have been that long because he's in quarantine right now. The attendee that tested positive, his name is not known. His identity is being kept anonymous. He's a 55-year-old man from Englewood, but it's only a week later or so, and they had to wait for he had to go to the hospital, meet the criteria, get tested, then wait for the results, which came back positive. I don't know how long that takes. And as I understand it, I mean, that's what some of the debate has been about, like how difficult it is to get yourself tested, I guess, because he's a Republican official or somebody who attended CPAC. That sure that probably he got approval pretty quickly, But back to my original point, Ted Cruz can't be the only person that shook hands with him. When Matt Schlapp, gave this interview and to Fox and Friends this morning, Sunday morning, he did it from his home. I don't have it up here. Skyping, not in the Fox and Friends studio in New York, and I've seen Matt Schlapp on television hundreds of times, and that's what he does. He makes appearances on televisions to advocate on various conservative causes and for various conservative candidates. He's a communications person. I've never seen him Skype before, but he did this morning. To announce this. And he had just spoken to the guy the day before. He says the guy's on the mend, and he very well may be. But, I mean, this is a pretty high-level senator that's now quarantining himself, and I don't know how many hundreds of people shook this dude's hand, What? And Trump was there, Pence was there. Matt Schlapp actually, interacted with the guy briefly. And Matt Schlapp ended up shaking Trump's hand, before he spoke. He greeted him on stage and shook hands with Trump. That's what the story was this morning. But many of Trump's senior level officials were at the conference. Besides Jared and Ivanka and Don Jr., Mick Mulvaney was there, Pompeo was there, Alex Azar was there. His Homeland Security secretary was there, energy secretary was there. So, I mean, there's just a pretty good likelihood that some people within high ranks of the Republican Party might, be facing similar circumstances that Ted Cruz is right now. So this is Ted Cruz's statement that he put out. Quote, last night I was informed that 10 days ago at CPAC, I briefly interacted with an individual who is currently symptomatic and has tested positive for COVID-19. The interaction consisted of a brief conversation and a handshake. I've consulted with medical authorities from the Houston Health Department, the Harris County Public Health Department, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the Department of Health and Human Service, as well as my personal physician. I have also spoken with the Vice President Pence, Leader McConnell, Mark Meadows. I'm not experiencing any symptoms. I feel fine and healthy. Given that the interaction was 10 days ago, that the average incubation period is 5 to 6 days, that the interaction was for less than a minute, and that I have no current symptoms, the medical authorities have advised me that the odds of transmission from the other individual to me were extremely low. I'd say that's probably true. I didn't know that the average incubation period is 5 to 6 days. So the physician further advised that testing is not effective before symptoms manifest, and my brief interaction with the individual does not meet the CDC criteria for self-quarantine. The medical authorities explicitly advised me that, given the above criteria, the people who have interacted with me in the 10 days since CPAC should not be concerned about potential transmission. Nevertheless, out of an abundance of caution, and because of how frequently I interact with my constituents as part of my job and to give everyone peace of mind, I've decided to remain at my home in Texas this week until the full 14 days have passed since CPAC and the CPAC interaction. Everyone should continue to treat this outbreak seriously and be driven by facts and medical science. We need to continue to be proactive in mobilizing resources to combat this outbreak, including the 8.3 billion in emergency funding we provided last week. I encourage everyone to follow the recommendations of the CDC and other health professionals in protecting their own health and welfare, as well as the health and welfare of those around them. And that's from 2 hours ago that he just tweeted that. It's from his, I think there's two accounts for him. It's just Ted Cruz and then his senator, Ted Cruz. It's pretty crazy. I'm sure he'll be fine. But it's just the likelihood that other people, shook hands with this dude, and probably some in the upper echelons of the Republican Party. I mean, there's talk radio dudes that speak at this conference, Mark Levin, all of them, dude. Ted Cruz has announced he will self-quarantine after he shook hands with someone who tested positive for the coronavirus at the Conservative Political Action Conference 10 days ago. The Republican politician shared the news on Twitter. I just read down through that, and that's pretty much the extent of it, man. It is. All right, well, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.